Welcome back to His and Hers Movie Podcast. This is episode number 45, featuring a review of the Witchcraft sequel to The Craft, and that is The Craft Legacy, which came out this year, a few weeks ago, back in October. I guess it'd be over a month ago at this point. But I am one half of your hosting duo, JP, podcasting on this December 4th, 2020. And joining me tonight, we're both podcasting out of Southwest PA. We have Carly. What's going on?
Not too much. I just came from work. I delivered a DoorDash and it was rainy and foggy out and very dark. But now I am here recording with you.
Cool. So this is a double header for me because right after we finish this episode, I go into a recording session with 22 shots, so I'm probably going to be a little exhausted by the end, considering those shows tend to run around 5 hours or more, which is scary.
You chose to do this.
I know. Well, I didn't want to record last night because I got a little sick feeling from the popcorn that we ate, which we'll talk about a little later in the movie that we went and saw. Which happens to me sometimes. If I eat too much popcorn, I get sick.
I still don't feel good. I feel like I just have heartburn, and I feel like I still have the taste of popcorn in my throat, and I can't get it out, and it's horrible.
I hear you. So, this is kind of a shorter turnaround again. I think after this, though, we should be back to just one recording a week.
Yes.
Yeah. So... yeah, let's see here. Anything going on? Anything exciting from this past week for you?
Anything exciting? Trying to think. No, not really. Don't think I've really done much since we last recorded, besides you and I and our adventure last night. No, I've had pretty much a boring life. What about you?
When was the last day that we recorded?
Was that on... crap, what did we even do?
It was The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
I think that was on Sat. Was it? Sat?
Okay, I think so.
Wait, what day is it? Well, oh, wait. Sunned, perhaps? Because I had to take Monday off?
No, it was... yeah, that's when it was. Or we recorded... Monday. I don't remember. No, I think you're right. It was Sunday. Either way, so less than a week here, so don't have a ton of watches, don't have a ton of stuff to get to. So the one thing that I wanted to bring up, which I'll probably end up talking about this on 22 shots as well, but I don't know if you saw the news that came out, but it's pretty devastating for someone like me and someone like you. Now, it's not the end of the world, but it's pretty grim in terms of, you know, what could happen. And that is that I believe Warner Brothers, I'm looking for the article here, I should have been a little bit more prepared, but Warner Brothers is electing to send their theatrical horror films on same-day release as theatrical to HBO Max. So HBO Max is a new streaming service, which it's funny when you think back in the day when there was only Netflix, and then there was Hulu, and then there was Prime, and then there was Shudder, and then there was CBS All Access, and then there was HBO Max and Disney Plus. Like, it's kind of interesting, and ESPN Plus. It's kind of interesting how the streaming movement is in complete full effect, and it's pretty much dominating how we consume media. So, like, we used to watch TV, and we still do for, like, football and other things, but now you can watch a lot of the games on streaming apps, too. And I think that, you know, the whole cutting the cord movement, which was really prevalent a year or 2 or 5 ago, is even in more effect. But it's kind of, I kind of like it and I don't, because on one hand, it allows you to pick what you want, right? Like, you don't have to pay for a cable package and get a bunch of stuff you don't want just to get the stuff you do want. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I spend personally, you know, $15 on Netflix or whatever it costs, $15 on Prime a month, and then I think $15 for a combined of Disney Plus, Hulu, and what's the other one? ESPN Plus. And then I spend, I don't know what I pay for Shudder. It used to be $5. It could be more now. I don't even know.
It went up $1.
Okay, so $6 for Shudder, which is still the steal of the century when you're talking streaming services. Yeah. And then I pay, I think that's it. I think that's all the streaming. No, I have CBS All Access because I like to catch up on Survivor and when new seasons air. If I can't watch the episode on TV, I could stream it and stuff like that. But so, I mean, I spend, you know, a good $50 or more a month on streaming, and that's not including music streaming like services like Spotify that I also have. But yeah, that's quite a bit. And when HBO Max came out, it was $15 a month, and I was like, wow, like that's, I mean, I like what they have on there. They had right away, they had stuff that I wanted to see, like Cast a Deadly Spell when we were prepping for 1991. That was on there because that was an HBO film. And they have some, you know, TV shows and stuff like that, and then just other movies. So I do think that they have decent content, and they're going to get more. Like, they just had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, which is pretty huge, that I still want to check out. So they have things that are in the works, and honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, this announcement completely sold me on getting HBO Max. And it's unfortunate, which we'll get to in a second, but at the same time, like, you almost have to have it if you're going to be covering new films. So I'm going to get it in 2021, which I didn't want to because I just thought that it was a little expensive. But now it's actually worth it. Like, it's actually worth the price with the types of movies that are coming to HBO Max. But to kind of go into that a little bit, why it's unfortunate. So the article states that Warner Brothers is going to be officially putting all of their 2021 films onto HBO Max. Now, it's not completely crap for us because it's not the only way to see it. Like, if theaters are still open, it's happening the same day as theaters, so it's not an exclusivity deal. You're not getting all of the films on HBO Max and none of them in the theaters. So it is a joint venture. But the reason that it's bad for theaters is, one, theaters are barely hanging on by a thread right now anyway, and two, it's clearly going to diminish the box office that you would get in the theater, and you will essentially not have the type of money flowing in during the year to theaters, because it is going to significantly decrease with people watching it at home, which, you know, my argument has always been against this, because I said there's no way that they'll recoup the amount of money doing it at a home release that they would in the theater. That's the reason why Halloween didn't come out, Halloween Kills didn't come out. That's the reason Candyman didn't come out, because you're just not going to get that money back. Now, I think that what Warner Brothers is thinking is that, well, is this going to end anytime soon? It doesn't look like it, so we can't just sit on $60 million budgeted films and not release them and not get any money back for them. If we just release them in the theaters, not that many people are going to the theaters still. There's some cities and states that don't have theaters open still. We in Pennsylvania here in Southwest PA do have some theaters still open, and we just went last night actually. But even when we were in there, film, now it wasn't the best gauge because it was kind of early in December, and I think that, you know, it's a film they show often, so I'm not sure how full it gets, but we were like one of like 3 people in there. But I will say that on the app, it looked like there were 3 screenings. So was ours just like the one that was the least full and they had to do 3 screenings? Because initially there was only 2 when I first seen it. So, you know, it could have been that. So hopefully maybe there was more people in the other screenings of A Christmas Story, which we'll get to later. But this could be a devastating blow to theaters. But I think these studios right now are completely not sure if theaters are going to open in 2021. So they're needing to look at backups. I know Disney is also releasing their films on Disney Plus. And so now 2 major studios are releasing their films on streaming platforms as of now, which is, and another thing, I do like this better than a $20 price tag to rent a movie, or a $30 price tag in the case of Mulan, because it's $15 a month and I get all the additional content and I can see the new film. So, as of right now, the slate for 2021 for Warner Brothers is Godzilla vs. King Kong, which we were actually supposed to get this year. It was finished and ready to go, and there were posters for it even. Mortal Kombat, the new Mortal Kombat film, which I don't believe has been shot yet. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, the 3rd Conjuring film, which is obviously exciting for us, you know, that being horror. A new Suicide Squad film, Malignant, which is a James Wan film, so that's another exciting one. Dune, and Matrix 4. Those are currently on the line. Godzilla vs. King Kong was supposed to come out, that's directed by Adam Wingard, on May 21st of this past year. The Conjuring was slated for June 4th. And the other ones were, I think, August 6th for the Suicide Squad. Dune was October 21st, and these are actually coming up, I think, so the next year. Whew, boy, that is pretty crazy, man. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it is horrible, because it is ruining theaters, and I think that it's stupid that theaters are closed right now, but that's a different story. And I just feel like, I don't know, I'm not gonna pay for another streaming type thing. Like, I just don't want to.
But you would if the new Conjuring was on there.
No, like, I'm not gonna. I don't want to. Like, I have too many streaming things already, and that's like a lot of money.
So you're telling me if the Conjuring 3 comes out, a huge movie like that, you're not gonna get HBO Max to watch it?
I want to go see it in the theater, is what I'm saying.
Okay, but I'm saying, like, let's say that the theaters you weren't able to.
Well, I guess if we have to do it on His and Hers Movie Podcast, but then I can just steal your information. Like, I just don't, I'm just mad the theaters are going to be screwed, and I'm mad that people are happy about that, and I'm mad.
Well, some people like Dave Z, for example, is the one that comes to mind. He doesn't like going to the theater. He likes his big screen TV and his surround sound and the comfort of his own home. Now, I've always said, and I think he would agree, that partially why that reason is because he has a family. He has a wife and a daughter, and if he goes to see Godzilla vs. King Kong, he has to pay $30 worth of tickets right up front, and then of course they're probably going to want snacks and stuff, and that's probably another $30. So that's a $60 price tag to go see one movie. I understand that. If that was the case, really think about it. If we paid $60 every time we went to go see a movie, we probably wouldn't go as often, right?
Yes, but we are honors members through AMC.
Right. So, but you can't do that with 3 people.
Just leave your family at home.
Well,
they don't want to see Godzilla. Like, Frankie Z doesn't want to go see Godzilla versus King Kong. And also tell them, get the candy at the dollar store then. I know you're not supposed to do that because you're supposed to support the theater. What? I'm not really for that. Just because I want, especially now, like these places really need our money. That's why we still pay for our A-list, and we see like one movie a month right now. So we're basically losing like $15 every month. But I'm okay with, because I'm trying to keep these things alive, because for me and you, seeing a movie in the theater is one of my favorite things to do in life. It really is. Like, I love to see movies in the theater. Whenever I watch a movie in the theater, I'm always super paying attention. There's no phones or anything like that, which is, partially to blame my fault. I shouldn't be having my phone when I'm at home watching movies either. But I do. And so when I'm in the theater, it's a different feeling. And whenever there's a great movie on screen, I almost always enjoy it more than when I watch it, if I would watch it at home. Like, if I watch an 8 out of 10 movie at home, or an 8 out of 10 movie in the theater always wins out in terms of my enjoyment factor. The seeing it on the big screen, there's something unique about it. And when you talk about, and this doesn't always happen, but when you talk about these mega movies, like when we went and seen It Chapter 1, I mean, dude, the theater was packed, and it made the experience, like, amazing, because everybody was so into it. Same thing with The Quiet Place. Remember when we went and seen The Quiet Place? The theater was packed. Like, whenever it was quiet, like everybody was like holding their breath. You could feel the tension in the air. Like, it was so awesome. And we've had bad experiences too. We've had The Strangers Pray at Night, where the older white middle-aged women wouldn't shut the fuck up, and they kept commenting on everything that was happening. And then we had the experience with Brightburn, where we almost had like a shootout in the theater. I thought that guy was going to his car to get a gun.
And I was like, yeah, be quiet. I told that story.
You were like, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, for real, dog. And it was great. But so we've had bad experiences, but the good ones heavily outweigh the bad ones. And I saw old Freddy in Space, who is from Bloody Disgusting there, him talking about, he's been pro this the whole entire time, especially during the pandemic. He's like pretty angry that people are out seeing movies anyway. But he was like saying how, like, his thing was like, well, maybe, he would rather see it at home than have somebody on their phone or talking and stuff like that. And it always shocks me when people say they have that many bad experiences, because I feel like we're in a pretty crappy area where people don't respect each other, and we don't even have those bad of experiences. But I can tell you right now, if every time I went and seen a movie it was a bad experience, I like grow some balls and tell them to shut up, or go get somebody out in the lobby and tell them, hey, this jackass down in front won't shut up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I don't know, man. I get why people have that problem, because I'll be honest, Hereditary was almost ruined for me when we went and seen it. Because at the climax of the movie, these kids were in there who shouldn't even have been in there. I mean, I would have been in there at their age, but, it was like a whole crew that a mom was like chaperoning. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well, then tell your kids to shut the hell up during the end of the movie. And, I almost fought like 6 9-year-olds that night.
Nobody. They were like 13.
Yeah, because you know how I know? Because they said, you can't tell a 13-year-old to shut up. And I was like, in a movie theater, and I was like, that is the one place I can tell a 13-year-old to shut the up, you know?
Yeah.
And, man, I don't know, dude. I'm worried. I'm nervous. I know Jeremy, I'll talk to him tonight. He's worried and nervous. Theaters, for him, that's something me and him bond over, because there's nothing better to me than seeing a film on the big screen. Especially when you're talking a retro movie, which hopefully that doesn't affect. I mean, if there's no theaters, we're not going to get any retro films shown. We'll stick to the drive-ins with that. One thing I can say is our drive-in in Brownsville is probably going to stick around. So at very least, we'll have something on the big screen. And who knows? Maybe it turns into a retro one like the one out in Mahoning. If they're not getting new movies. Like, I almost feel like this podcast jinxed the theaters, because the whole purpose of us creating this show, other than to actually just talk and have a weekly show that covered, you know, more than just horror films, because I was kind of wanting to, was to discuss the films that we saw in the theater, because we weren't able to discuss them on Shudder and Chill, and we weren't able to discuss them anywhere else. That's why we used to do the post-viewing videos on YouTube, which were fun, but my my phone's usually dead by that point, because I'm on it too much.
Yeah, you text moods.
And my phone battery doesn't last too long, so we stopped kind of doing those, and then we wanted to, we were seeing everything, right? Like, we were seeing every horror film, and sometimes even non-horror films that came out. I mean, at the height, we were going to the theater sometimes 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And so when the year started out, it started out strong, you know, 4 horror films to start the year, all through January. February had a couple, and then March was supposed to have like 3 more. And then just boom, dead, nothing. And I mean, even the hint of theatrical films that we got later in the year with Come and Play and Freaky, like, reignited my flame, because it was dying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, going to the movie is just my thing to do, and I agree. Like, seeing it on the big screen, for instance, I just saw that movie Buddy Games with my friend the other day, and it was a comedy. But I find that, like, I probably, in my head, I'm thinking, if I was sitting at home watching this, I probably wouldn't even laugh that much. But watching it on the big screen, I was laughing the whole time. Kind of with, like, Freaky, too. I just think it highlights how fun they are. And then horror movies are, like, 10 times more scary on the big screen to me. And I pay attention to them better and notice more things. And there's just so much more that the big screen could bring. Even, like, you know, like I said, you said, we'll talk about it, A Christmas Story. I've seen that 1,000,000 times, but watching it on the big screen was, like, more emotional and more impactful for me. So it's just unfortunate. I don't know. I understand people not wanting to spend the money, but, like, I just hate the way the world is going, where everyone just wants to sit at home and have everything done for them at home on their couch. It's just boring to me. I like to go out and do things, and when your thing with, oh, wouldn't you get that for The Conjuring? Like, I would just wait for that movie to come out on Blu-ray if I really wanted to see it.
No,
like we always do. Yes, I would.
Wouldn't. There's no way. The Conjuring 3?
No, I'm not excited for that movie. I don't get why you're so adamant on that.
Because it's a huge movie. Okay, so let's say it's It Chapter 2 then. You're not going to go see It Chapter 2?
Yes, I'm going to go see It Chapter 2 in the theater, yes.
No, I'm saying if it was on HBO Max.
I can wait. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, why can't people just wait?
Wait for what?
The fucking movie to come out on, like, DVD or VHS.
Because
like, why can't it be the old days?
Like, whenever, like, you're telling me if a new Friday the 13th came out, you wouldn't be fucking on HBO Max.
10 years ago, it was brand new, too. And, like, no, but, like, everyone... What?
Why are you getting mad?
Just let me talk.
I'm saying, if a brand new Friday the 13th came out, you wouldn't be there day one on HBO Max.
No, I would be there day one in the theater.
I'm saying if the theater wasn't there.
I'm not, like, you sound stupid. You're like, you wouldn't be there day one on HBO Max. Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting on my couch with my cats bothering me on HBO Max.
Dude, I couldn't, like, dude, I'm telling you right now, the day The Conjuring
If it was
comes
on
out,
Netflix, like, sure, but I'm just saying, I don't want to buy a new streaming service because I'm sick of paying for streaming services. It adds up.
yeah,
Unless I steal yours, like I said.
right.
So, that's just how I feel. That's why you shouldn't bring this up, because I get mad.
Well, I don't know, buddy. I mean, to me, the thing of, like, I don't know, maybe me and you are just different with movies, but, like, when there's a big movie coming out, like Candyman or something, I don't care how I see it. If there's a way to see it the day that it comes out, I'm seeing it. You know what I mean? I would rather see it in the theater, but if it's not in the theater and it's on, you know, even if it's a $30 price tag, I'm buying Candyman day one, because that's a film I'm really excited about.
I've just never felt that way, I guess, like, because I think the way I see it is there's so many classic movies too that I really want to see and I haven't gotten to yet, and there's just so many movies in the world, and I just think, like, yeah, I see everyone saying good things about that. I am hype, and I shall get to it when I shall get to it. Like, I never feel like I have to run out and see something.
So what you're trying to say is you're a fake cinema fan.
No, I like cinema. I'm not that impatient, I guess.
It's not about being patient. It's about, like, okay,
yeah,
I've waited for this. Now it's out. I can see it now.
Okay, I'm excited for it, but it's like, I don't know. I can wait. It's fine. I'm cool. Everything's cool.
No. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's move on from that. That is our opening discussion on theaters possibly dying, possibly staying alive.
Yeah, great opener.
Either way, a lot of people are very excited for this.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know,
man. I see them being excited for it.
Yeah. I do agree with you about, like, why is everybody so, like, inclined to never want to leave their house?
They're like, F theaters, yay! Like, shut up, dudes! Like, you're so annoying. Like, it's all people
Who's
that, like, live
F
in
theaters?
Like Zachary Pussybelly on your posts and stuff like that.
Oh. Okay.
He probably doesn't leave his house anyway. Anyway, go on.
Okay, well, let's move on. So, let's get into what we watched this week. It is your blind spot, I believe, right?
Yes.
So you will go second, I shall go first. Okay, so what was the last thing that I talked about?
All you talked about was the moves from 22 Shots, which were Jungle Holocaust, House on the Edge of the Dick, and Body Count.
Okay, House on the Edge. Okay. So, what did I watch? Okay, the very first one that I watched was The Queen's Gambit.
That's not a move. Move on.
2020. It is a Netflix miniseries, and I loved it. So, this movie follows a orphan played by, I don't know who she's played by initially, but eventually played by Anya Taylor-Joy. And she's like this little redheaded girl who is an orphan, and she is in a orphanage where she befriends this little black girl. And she is lost, kind of, and one day she's told to go clean. She's very smart. She's she finishes her classwork, so she's told to go clean the erasers. She was like one of the girl, you know, the girl that is the first to hand in their test.
Yes, that's me.
Okay. Well, she's told to go clean the erasers in the basement, and when she goes down there, she sees a custodian sitting at a desk playing chess by himself, and she's like fascinated by it, like the board and the pieces, and she like asks to play, and he's like, girls don't play chess, you know, leave me alone. He's like kind of grumpy. And meanwhile, the girl who she befriended was telling her about they take these medicines, they're like tranquilizers basically, and she's like, save them for later at night, and you kind of trip out a little bit if you take them. So she starts doing that, and sometimes she'll save like 4 or 5 of them and then take them all at night, and she kind of hallucinates a little bit and things like that, and she envisions the chessboard on the ceiling and plays chess in her head and stuff like that. Anyway, to move this story along, it's 8 episodes, like an hour each. So it's like an 8-hour thing, or around there. She eventually learns how to play chess from this guy. She eventually gets adopted, which is kind of surprising because a lot of the older girls don't get adopted. And the only reason I mentioned that her friend was black is because this is a period piece, and there's a little racism and sexism in here, and you know, it comes into play later in the thing when we're reintroduced to the character and what she went through, and you know, she has a little arc there too. But she's adopted, and her mother and father, you know, her adopted parents, quickly divorce. And so she's stuck there with the foster mother, and she gets really involved in chess there. She enters a tournament and smokes everybody and wins like $300, and then the mother's kind of interested. At first she was like, what is this chess thing? But then she's kind of interested, and she becomes, you know, she starts traveling around and playing chess, and winning tournaments and facing higher and higher competition. And she's like a young chess prodigy, and during that time she deals with substance abuse because she never really kicked her habit from the tranquilizers, and she started drinking a lot and smoking weed, and her mother, you know, what I will say about the mother character is I expected this to go in the traditional way where the mother starts using her for the money and stuff because she becomes her agent or whatever, not agent, but like manager, and I expected her to start using her and, you know, taking money from her and stuff like that. It does not happen. They actually develop a really close relationship, and it's very sort of tragic with that. And then the girl, you know, Anya Taylor-Joy absolutely smokes this performance. Like, it's absolutely amazing. This was one of the most watched scripted series in the history of Netflix, which surprised me because it's about freaking chess of all things, and it's heavily about chess. And it's also about, you know, the girl coming of age, you know, having sex for the first time, the substance abuse stuff, not fitting in and things like that, and relationships and stuff like that. But it's set in the 60s or 50s. It's set in the 50s, I believe. But dude, this is amazing. One of my favorite watches of the year. I absolutely loved it. There is some great chess action in it. I know how to play chess. I'm not very good. My cousin taught me when I was like a little kid, and I've played here and there, but I'm not good at all. Like, I usually lose to anybody I face, but I know how to play. I know what the pieces do and how they move and stuff, and I know some terminology. So this was really cool because, and from what I understand, chess nerds, like big chess fans, were like super, even pro, you know, grandmaster chess players, said that this is one of the best adaptations of the game on screen, to not make it flashy and to really take its time and to show what's happening and not do it in like a cheat way. You know, it's actually very well done in terms of the accuracy of how the game's played. What do you think? Come on, man.
Dude, seriously, I'm so bored.
Why?
I don't care. Because I don't care about chess, and the name is stupid.
The Queen's Gambit?
Yeah, what the hell was that?
It's a chess move. It's an opening in chess.
Watch the move. Listen, dude, I just don't, like, I'm not gonna watch it. and
You should.
I don't care.
Why
would I like that? I don't know anything about chess.
You don't need to know anything about chess. Like, the story
You're
itself...
talking about these chess pros being like, wow, that was an impressive miniseries. It really highlighted our chess playing.
No, like, the relationship stuff and the way it's filmed and the music and Anya Taylor is literally amazing in this movie. I am so proud of her and her rise, because let's not forget, she made, like, her very first film was The Witch, at least her first star leading role.
Okay,
and then look at where she's come from there, and from 2016, this was a major success.
That was a good. The witch role was a good starting role, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Trash.
I'm saying, but it's horror, and it was an independent film, and you know, to see her in The New Mutants, which, you know, obviously people didn't like, but I have heard mostly good things about her performance, and Marrowbone, and all the films she did, and the film she's doing with Ari Aster next. Or wait, is it Ari Aster who's doing it? Who did The Witch?
The Witch,
it's not Ari Aster. It's
Edgar?
Robert Eggers, yeah.
Robert Eggers.
He did, The Lighthouse. She's gonna be in his next film called The Northman or something, and that one sounds really good. But dude, I'm telling you, like, she is an amazing actress. She's probably my favorite actress right now.
Yeah, dude, she is good.
She's great.
I just don't feel like watching The Queen's Gambit.
Okay, so moving on from the Queen's Gambit, I gave that a 9 out of 10. I'm bumping it to a 9.5. One of the best things I saw all year. Then I got Santa's Sleigh from 2005. This is as part of my Survive 05, as well as a film we're reviewing on 22 Shots. Dude.
What?
It's pretty fun. Like, I don't know, dude. It's a lot funner than it should be. The opening is fantastic. I'm like, how did this movie get made? It needs a collector's edition. I really enjoy that movie. Then I watched Yummy from 2019, getting a wide 2020 release. It's a Shudder exclusive. It's a zombie comedy. This chick goes to get her boobs reduced because they're too big. Right. And basically there's a zombie outbreak in this shady plastic surgery hospital thing. What is it? It's like Finnish or something? Not sure what country it's from, but it's partially American language and partially another language. It was better than I expected. I'm so burnt out on zombie comedies and honestly, like, the poster, facelift, boob jobs, and zombies just didn't do anything for me. I was like, oh god. But it ended up being actually a very enjoyable watch. I really did like it. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, which really shocked me. Then I watched Hauntedween from the year 1991. This was like a Patreon film that
How many did you watch?
Not very many. Which I just spent like triple the time on Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
This is a... Did you watch Hauntedween when you were prepping for 91?
No, I could not find it.
It's basically a haunted house movie, or not a haunted house movie, like not haunted house like The Conjuring, but like a haunted house, like for Halloween, like they set up a haunted house, like the sorority, or not, what is the male version of a sorority called?
It's a sorority as well.
Oh.
Right? Wait.
I don't know, I thought sorority meant female.
Wait, now you're making me question that. Fraternity.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
This fraternity is like low on money, so they set up this haunted house thing. It's like a basic movie, but it's enjoyable. I gave it a 6 out of 10. And then I watched The Children 2008. Have you ever seen this?
No.
Very good movie. Very subtle, and then it gets very violent. But it's basically a killer kid movie, but it's done really well. It's set on Christmas, and it's only like an hour and 24 minutes or something, and I'm like, dude, this is, and like 4 minutes of credits, and I'm like, this is how you make a goddamn movie, man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It
sure.
just cruises by. It's nice. It's good.
Right.
Then I watched Deadly Games, which is a Christmas film from France from 1989. It's kind of like Home Alone a little bit. This kid basically is trying to reach out to Santa Claus to see if he's real. And he does it like via the internet or something, and it's like 1989, so I'm like, holy crap, this is weird. And a derelict like gets the transmission kind of thing. You'd have to see how it's done in the movie to understand it. And he basically shows up at this kid's house dressed as Santa Claus, and kills his dog right in front of him. And then the kid's like, oh crap, this isn't Santa Claus. Or he thinks it is actually Santa Claus, which is messed up. But he's like, Santa Claus killed my dog, I gotta go. And but it's kind of a little Home Alone-y. I could see where that comparison is. Like, you know, he's like kind of like in this big house, and this guy's after him. It's very fun. I can't believe this movie was like not released out here till recently. This is that Vinegar Syndrome 4K that I bought.
Yeah, I watched that last year on Shutter.
Oh, you have seen it then?
Yeah, I did it for Fresh Cuts, and you got that grandpa who's like blind as hell.
Yeah. So that is all my watches for the week, besides the Christmas story, which we'll get to.
Alright, hold on. I only watched 2 things. So, I shall get to those. And the first one I watched was Hellraiser Hellworld, as per my Survive 05. Now, this move sucks. I think it's the 8th Hellraiser movie, and it's got Lance Henriksen, and basically these kids play this game called like Hellworld, and it's like a Hellraiser game, and then they all get invited to Lance Henriksen's nice house, and then they start getting Hellraisered. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, it reminds me of like the Halloween resurrection of the Hellraiser movies, even though the Hellraiser movies are all pretty bad anyway, in my opinion. I know you came around on them, but I remember I watched these all in like a marathon format back when I was trying to be less of a horror noob, and I was just miserable. It was like the worst thing ever. And,
watch all the Hellraisers?
Yeah.
Do it again.
No!
Dude,
no,
they're honestly not bad, man. I like most of them.
Oh god. Honestly, like this one, I remember
that
getting
one's the worst one.
But I remember by the time I got to this one, I was like, well, this one's kind of fun at least.
It's a solid off.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Like, it's got like these weird traps and things like that.
How many do you have?
2! I just
Jeremy's
said 2.
rushing me to get on 22 shots already.
Who?
Jeremy.
Okay, then call him and he could be on this, and then we can morph into 22 shots and I shall leave. But yeah, Hellraiser Hellworld, it sucks. The acting's annoying. All the characters are pretty unlikable. The story's stupid. Lance Henriksen is good because he's him, but it's not a good movie by any means. I gave it like a 3 out of 10. And then the second one I watched, as per my, oh my god, I have to watch all these 2020 movies, it's almost the end of the year, is a Creepshow animated special, which is on Shutter. And I watched this mainly because it was like late, and it's only 45 minutes, to be honest. But also I was kind of curious on it, and I liked it. It's 2 segments.
I started it when it came out, and I was just like, could not get into the animation.
Yeah, I dug the animation. It's like comic book animation, much like...
You know what's funny, though? I didn't really put that into my head until after I turned it off, like, hours later. I was like, oh, wait, that was, like, kind of looked like a comic book. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, that's, like, the point of it. It's, like, they're going by the comic book animation that they had made for the show. But the first segment's about a dude who gets stranded on a deserted island, and he's writing down, you know, his life, pretty much. Not his life, but he's like kind of narrating stuff and writing it in this notebook that he has, saying like, if I survive this and stuff like that. And it kind of spirals and gets like really depressing and crazy, and like disturbing in a way. I kind of like the animation for that. I thought it did good with, like, any gore and things and, like, expressions. I thought it was very disturbing looking, so I really dug that first one. The second short in it was a girl who downloads Twitter onto her phone, and she's going on a trip with her parents, and the whole time she keeps writing tweets, and, you know, she's a typical teenager. She kind of has that, like, oh my god type voice to her, and they end up going to this, like, amusement park, and then there's, like, some zombie stuff going on there, and she's, like, tweeting the whole time. I didn't really like that one as much. I thought it was kind of a step down for the first part. If that one would have been good, I would have gave this a much higher rating, because I did like the first one quite a bit, but the second one's not bad. I just didn't care for the story too much and didn't think it had as much, like, memorable stuff to it, so I gave this, like, a 7 out of 10 as a total. So, that is my moves.
That's it?
Oh, and then I have a blind dick. So my blind spot...
let's do Christmas Story, then you do your blind spot.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Okay.
Yes.
So last night we went and seen A Christmas Story, 1983. My favorite thing to tell people about this movie is, because I was getting my hair cut, that's something I did this week, and I was talking to my barber, and I was like, he's asking me what I was doing today, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to see A Christmas Story tonight at the theater. And he was like, oh, that's cool. He's like, I love that movie. And I'm like, yeah, you know what's interesting about that movie? I was like, there's a director. It was directed by a guy named Bob Clark, and he's a Canadian guy. He started his career with a bunch of horror films. Not a bunch, like 3. And he directed a zombie film called Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. And then he directed a sort of supernatural film in Death Dream, which is about a Vietnam vet who was considered killed in action, who shows back up at his hometown. And then he directed a little old film in 1974 called Black Christmas. He'd never heard of it.
I know most people haven't.
But I was like, yeah, it's like a slasher film set in a sorority. And like almost 10 years later, after directing probably what people consider the greatest Christmas horror movie, he directed what a lot of people consider the greatest Christmas movie. Which is cool, man. And I love Bob Clark. But boy, did he grow as a filmmaker by the time he got to Christmas Story. Because you look at Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, and it's kind of, you know, not amateurish, because I really like that movie, made my top 10 in 1972.
Yeah.
But it's very, you know, low budget feeling and
yeah.
You know, kind of young in his talent. But anyway, A Christmas Story, I watched it, and this will probably be the first of at least 2 times that I watch it this year, because it does run 24 hours on TBS, which I always throw it on Christmas Day. Or Christmas Eve, actually, and throughout Christmas Day. But this is a movie that I've always been a massive fan of it. I think back, and I can't remember the first time I seen it, but I've watched it since I can remember.
What?
What?
That didn't make sense, buddy.
What do you mean?
I don't think that made any sense.
What?
You watched it since you can remember.
Yeah, I've watched it since I can remember. Like, I can't remember a time that I didn't watch it. Like, in my life. Like, it's always been a part of my life.
I see. Yes, same here. And back on that Black Christmas thing, I think it's funny, like, because I tried to say that, like, at work, for instance. I'm like, this dude directed Black Christmas and then A Christmas Story, and I just assume people know what Black Christmas is, but nobody in the world seems to know what that is. So it, like, completely destroys the vibe of shocking people. But yeah, Christmas Story, I watched this one growing up, and it was a tradition, you know, just always have it on the TV Christmas Eve, falling asleep to it, and then it being on while I'm opening presents in the morning. Another sad thing, you know, I always assume everybody does that, but some people don't have that luxury and have never seen A Christmas Story, or they just don't like the movie.
That's crazy, man.
I feel bad for those people, because to me, in my head, it's like, oh, every kid, like, just watch this as a tradition. That's always been a thing. But, yeah, it's always been a big movie in my life. It's crazy how films like this you can watch over and over and over and over again, literally, and it's like, okay, you could keep doing that. Kind of like Shawshank Redemption. Like, I don't understand how some movies just have that to it.
So, Christmas Story, I remember watching it as a kid. It follows a young kid who is interested in getting a Red Ryder BB gun, air rifle, for Christmas. It's like he's obsessing over it. And it takes a small few days before Christmas and then Christmas itself in what we assume is the late 30s to mid 40s, somewhere around there. And he deals well with that, with his family, bully, but it's done so differently than what you would expect for those types of movies. And I just love it, dude. I think back to the films that I've seen the most. This has got to be like number 2 all time.
Yeah, yeah, I would. It might be the number 1 when I really think about it. Like, I've seen it so much.
I've seen Full Metal Jacket probably more than this, but it's pretty close. Like, you got to figure, I at least watched this since it aired on TV and on TBS, which is 1995. And then in 97 they started the 24 Hours of a Christmas Story. I remember when they first did it. You know what I mean?
That's when I was born.
Yeah, so I mean, I used to watch it more times back then, but I watch it at least once every year. Sometimes, you know, lately, I think I watched it twice last year, but going back before I had a job and stuff, I would watch it, you know, sometimes 4 to 6 times. And
yeah,
you times that by 97, 2007, 2017, over 20 years, you know. It's kind of crazy, man. I have a video of on a camcorder of me at a what do they call those things where old people go after they can't be by themselves anymore?
Nursing home?
Yeah, I went to a nursing home to visit my great-grandfather, and it was on the TV there, and I have video of him and it on the TV and me.
Dude, you talk about all these videos, but you never share
Dude,
them.
I don't know. I hope they still exist, honestly. I have no idea where they are.
Because I have no videos. I
only have like 3 2-hour tapes, and one of them has my aunt on it who passed away, and my grandma used to watch it all the time, but I don't know. I know I'm gonna be cringed the hell out if I ever see him, because I was like, I think my voice was starting to drop, and I'm just like cringy as hell. I'm pretty sure there's one of us drinking and stuff. Like me and my friends. Anyway.
Yeah.
So A Christmas Story, it was funny because we go there and, like, typically with these retro screenings, the movie starts immediately. There's no trailers or anything. It's just a blank screen, and then exactly at 7:30 the movie starts. And this time we waited for like 25 minutes, and then I was like, I'm gonna go see what's going on. And I go out there, and good old Sarah at the box office was like, it's not playing. And I was like, and I'm like, no. And she's like, oh. She's like, is it just a black screen? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh. And then she walkies, and she's like, the guest in 10 says that the movie's not playing. And then she's like, they said they're gonna start it in a second. And then I walk back in there, and everybody's looking at me. I'm like, they said that they didn't know that it wasn't playing. But everybody was going to just sit there and not do anything. Because I asked them, like, do we know what time this is starting? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, there was like a couple behind us. They're just on their phone taking pictures. There's like an old couple next to us. They're just eating their popcorn. And I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to speak up.
Yeah, so I had to do the manly thing.
Right, right.
Anyway, I don't think... well, let me just say this before we move on here. This time watching it, the thing that I noticed the most is that how fast the movie goes. Like, not only not how fast it goes, but how fast-paced the movie is. Like, there's something happening. Like, there's all these little sort of, what would you call it?
You mean like the stuff with the bullies running and the...
No, like just vignettes. It's like there's everything is like vignettes.
I don't know what that means.
Buddy, come on.
You mean like the daydreams and like how there's just all kinds of goofy stuff that's in it to like keep it going?
No.
Yes.
I mean like it's segmented. Like, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The major award, and then there's the the tongue on the ice pole, and then there's...
Yeah, it doesn't stick on one scene for too long.
Well, yeah, it's just like there's all the decoding pen, the fixing the tire, the soap, the fighting the bully, the seeing Santa. You know, it's like it's like segmented, so it goes by really fast because there's always something happening, and that's what I noticed this time.
Yeah, I noticed like just how spot on and realistic the acting is, and I just like I love the dad character.
The dad's my favorite character in it because he reminds me of any. Pap.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of both of my grandfathers in a way, and I just love it. Like I was getting. Like, I almost cried at the end when he gives the boy the gift.
Dude,
and it's
same, and I've never even felt really emotional about that.
Well, I cared.
That's
yeah,
how seeing it on a big screen can change your perception, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, the dad's just like, and the boy's
he's like, hey.
Boy, Ralphie.
He's like, what's that over there?
Yeah,
like,
and the music cue is, like, so dramatic.
And there's, if you watch subtly, the camera, when it's a close-up on his face, when Ralphie's pulling it out from the behind the thing, he has these little, the smile just starts and it goes back down, and it's just like he's so happy, like he's like, it's a magical moment for him, you know what I mean? And I said this to you too, the only person he didn't ask was the person who was paying most attention.
Yes.
And I thought that was so cool, man.
And the dad is like grumpy and seems like a hard ass the whole movie, and then he's the one who makes his son the happiest. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love the dad, man. And even it's so relatable. Like the scene where the mom doesn't tell on Ralphie. I mean, I had that experience so much with my grandma, like where I would get in trouble, I get suspended from school or something, and I like waiting for my pap to get home, crying in my room, scared to death, and then she just would never say anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, and I don't know, it's so relatable. There's so much stuff's relatable. I don't know, like if you don't like this movie, you're not human. Something's wrong with you.
Right.
Because it's relatable, or you had like no experience in life. You know what I mean? Because this is literally so relatable to me. I love it. And it's a 10 out of 10 for me, man.
Yeah, me too. There's nothing wrong with it. But like Ralphie is an amazing actor too. Like that kid is just perfect.
For you horror fans out there, check out the 1980s movie called Death Valley, which I believe came out in '82. Came out a year before this, starring Peter Billingsley. It's sort of a road horror slasher-esque desert film.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, we actually got to see that on the big screen.
We did.
Yeah.
But yeah, 10 out of 10, A Christmas Story. Yes, great time last night.
Yeah. It's a shame how Bob Clark's career went. Because his last film was Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2.
I think it's sad how he died.
How did he die?
A drunk driver hit him and his son, and they both died.
No. Poor Clark.
Yeah, I think about that. Like, could you imagine being the drunk driver who killed the guy who made...
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas Story.
Man.
Like, you'd watch A Christmas Story and be like, I killed the guy who made this. And his son, who was like 22.
Yeah.
But
it's rough.
Yes.
Okay.
On that note, I shall I have to give my blind spot real quick.
Okay, do your blind spot.
It shall be quick. So I watched Batman Returns from a year, I forget what year, 82 maybe, 89, I don't know. But yeah, Batman Returns, a sequel to Batman with Michael Keaton reprising the role as Batman.
Buddy.
What, buddy?
92.
Oh, 92, yes.
Damn,
sure.
a lot of 90s. 91, 92, like 92, 93. Feels like there's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so 92, like I said, Michael Keaton, who I like him as an actor, reprises the role as Batman, and it's still set in that story, but this one is about this evil penguin dude, which, dude, Joe Pesci's not even in this move. I don't know why you told me he's in it. But you got this penguin guy who lives in the sewer, and he comes up and he wants to team up with Christopher Walken, who's like the head of a businessman in the town, Max Schreck. Isn't that the name of the guy who played Nosferatu?
The director, maybe?
No, like the actual guy. I guess not. I might just be making that up. But I could have sworn that's like the same, that name, Max Schreck, is like his name. I might be completely wrong.
I thought he was the director of it.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, though, so they're teaming up.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Max Schreck was the Count Orlok in Nosferatu.
Yes, I thought that was kind of odd. But
that's probably on purpose, considering it was directed. It's either from the comics, which have horror influence. I mean, the Joker is like a ripoff of the last.
Wow.
Yes, I forget what that movie's called, but you know. Okay.
Yeah, but so that's going on, and they want to take down Batman, and then you also have the shy secretary who goes home every night and is like, oh yes, I forgot I'm not married, and I thought that was funny. But she's like the secretary to Christopher Walken, and she finds out what's kind of going on, and Christopher Walken pushes her out a window. She dies, but these cats go around her, and she becomes the Catwoman. And then her and Batman kind of are brawling, but then in real life they connect, you know, as when they're not being superheroes, they sort of connect and are into each other, but they don't know each other's identity, and then it becomes this whole, like, love type thing, and that is the move. It is a Batman move, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of superhero movies. Are you laughing at me?
No, I'm grunting at you.
Why?
Because, dude, Batman Returns is awesome.
I think I do like. See, I like the Catwoman story. I just like that thing where
Kyle.
Yeah, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, I believe.
Yep. She's a femme fatale.
Yes, but I think I liked her stuff. I just like that concept where she's kind of like a quiet secretary who doesn't have like a husband or family or anything, and then she becomes this Catwoman, and she becomes real, like, you know, a different personality.
Mm-hmm. This was a really big movie. I mean, there was so many people who auditioned for the role of that role. Susan Sarandon, Meryl Streep, Brooke Shields, Demi Moore, Nicole Kidman, Jodie Foster, Gina Davis, Sigourney Weaver,
all those people are like
Cher, Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Okay, well, I was gonna say all those people are like people that I get mixed up and think they look alike, so that like they look like Michelle Pfeiffer. So I think that's kind of funny. Then you kept on going, and some of them I don't. But yeah, I thought it was a good movie. But I just am not a fan of Batman movies, and well, I am a fan of Batman.
Don't you think like Gotham, with its gothic sort of architecture and like the horror, like there's horror, like if you're a horror fan, you should like the aesthetic of these movies.
Not necessarily this one though, buddy. It's a little hokey. Like I'm not a big fan of the Penguin dude. I'm gonna say it. Like I just wasn't a big fan of him.
He used to scare me when I was a kid. This performance.
And then Christopher Walken, like I can't take that dude serious. Like in any.
Okay, you can just end the review now.
Okay, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Christopher Walken is great. Do you not like The Dead Zone?
I'm not saying he's not great. I just think he's like he's one of those people that I laugh at him because he's like funny. I don't know. And it's
well, I'm disappointed. How was the Christmas vibes in that one?
I mean, it was decent. You were right that it is set on Christmas. I thought it was just gonna be like there's a random tree in the background, and that's like it, and that's what you meant by being, or it was snowing, and it's like, oh, it's Christmas. But it was actually set on Christmas, and there's like a big thing with a giant tree in the city and all that stuff. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out again, because I haven't seen that in like probably over 15 years.
Right.
Okay. Picking my next blind spot. We're kind of getting towards the end here. Do you have the list in front of you?
Hold on. Where's that? Oh my god.
Number 2.
Hold on. Chicken stew. Number 2. Let's see here. The Hand That Rocks the Dick. You already did that one.
13.
The Crying Dick. You already did that one.
11.
Panic Dick. You did that one.
10.
Monty Python and the Holy Dick.
Okay, Monty Python it is.
Yes. Awesome.
Alright, so I'll check out Monty Python and the Flying Circus, or whatever one we're doing.
The Holy Grail, buddy.
The Holy Grail? Okay,
Actually,
I'll check that out.
Just watch whatever one you want.
Okay.
Like they're all worth a watch. Well, actually, don't do that because I don't think I've seen them. I've seen Holy Grail and The Life of Brian, and there's one other one, I think. But anyway, I guess we shall get into our featured review.
Yes, which is...
The Craft Legacy 2020.
Did you say the trash?
The Craft, buddy. The Craft.
I thought you said the trash legacy. Okay,
No.
So quick plot synopsis on this one.
Okay. An eclectic foursome of aspiring teenage witches get more than they bargained for as they lean into their newfound powers. Let the ritual begin.
As always, we will remain spoiler-free on our featured review. So, yeah, basically follows this girl who moves to a new high school after her mother marries like a new dude, played by David Duchovny, I believe.
Yes.
And she befriends a group of girls at her school who are all into the Wiccan lifestyle, or they practice the art known as the craft. They put some spells on people, you know, get them to stop acting douchey. The lead there, she it's kind of a coming of age type thing. She's, you know, gets her first period. I assume it's a PG-13, but there's some masturbation going on in this.
That is true. I didn't think about that.
I was kind of shocked at that. Were you?
Yeah. I forgot. I wasn't thinking that it's PG-13, but I guess that is kind of a weird thing to throw in there.
Yeah.
It happens fast, but still, like, you know what's happening.
Yeah. And, so she likes this dude who is sort of questioning his sexuality. Did that scene come off weird to you?
Yeah. It felt like, it kind of just felt like forced almost.
Yeah, it did feel kind of forced, huh?
Mhm. Like, because nothing really happened. Well, I guess stuff happens, but like it's a very quick type of thing, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
And you know, she starts to possibly abuse her powers, and the rest of the group are kind of like, yo, you're abusing your powers. So what did you think of this movie?
You know what? Honestly, I liked it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think I would. I didn't really have much interest in it. I like the first Craft, but it's not like my favorite movie in the world, so it's like I don't really care about a new Craft movie. Maybe that helped me in the long run, but it's very teenage. Like, this seems like something I would have enjoyed a lot when I was 17 or somewhere around that.
Now, do you like the original Craft?
What's that?
Now, do you like the original Craft?
Yeah, I said that, like, I enjoy that. I've only seen that maybe twice. Like, I'm saying it's, you know, it's not one that I watch a million times and I'm super into, but I like it quite a bit, yeah.
It's sort of a go-to for me.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but this movie has its problems, but I thought it was just kind of a fun, easy watch.
What are the problems you had with it?
I just feel like, you know, they all kind of come together. Like, the beginning is cool. You got the girls, and they need their fourth, and then I feel like it kind of just rushes through all that, and then it becomes more of a coming-of-age story with the main girl, and that's kind of it. And it's not really about the whole camaraderie of the four girls having fun. You get, like, a montage part, and that's like the gist of it, and then they're all mad at her for what seems like the rest of the movie. But
well, yeah, that all happens with it, like the last half hour. For me, I went into this expecting not to like it because everybody was talking bad about it, and the first hour of it, I was like, I like this. This isn't too bad. Like, it's not the greatest, but it's you know, serviceable. And then the final act completely killed it for me. I just thought the final act of this movie was garbage.
That's kind of my problem too. Like, I didn't like where the story went.
It just seems so typical, and it wasn't set up right or properly.
Like, I kind of wanted another, you know, I know they're trying to do something different, but I just wanted more with the other girls, maybe, because it's just like, they all come together, it's like, yay, you're our fourth, and blah, 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 but then you don't really get much with those other girls. There's not much character development with them, and it's all about this girl, and then there's, like, some family stuff going on, and I just didn't really care for that much at all.
Yeah.
I was getting characters confused in this too. Like, I was getting
like the dudes, all the dudes.
Yeah, the boy. Confused. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, which one's her brother and which one's the, like, love interest?
Yeah. At first, I thought the love interest was her brother.
Me too. Yeah, because it could have been. It was just like a stepbrother, so.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but.
Which then I probably would have gave it more points. But anyway, I agree about what you brought up about the camaraderie, because what I love about the original Craft so much is the teens hanging out and being teens. You know, doing light as a feather, stiff as a board, and stuff like that. And I remember my aunt and her friends doing that, trying it out and stuff. And I remember that seeing my, you know, aunt, who was only like 13 years older than me or something. So she was like, when I was a young kid, she was like 17, 18, and all her friends and stuff like that hanging out, and it just reminded me of them, you know. And I like that about the original Craft. Like, they have time to be friends, and they felt real. Like, these girls, I'm sure they might feel real to people who are watching this today, but they didn't feel real to me. They didn't feel like real friends. Yeah, and even, like, getting the girl in as their fourth, it just feels like, okay, well, you do witchcraft too, so now you're our friend. It didn't feel genuine at all. Like, you know, they kind of... I mean, that kind of happens in the original too. But I guess. This one just, everything feels rushed while doing it. Yeah. And, that, like, the scenes where they're, like, stopping time and doing stuff, like, that was the funnest stuff for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it just goes completely downhill by the end, where it's just like, it's honestly kind of cringy. So I thought the ending was very weak, and I don't know, it wasn't cool to me. I would have liked a lot more out of this, honestly. I liked aspects of it. I didn't really like the lead too much either, to be honest. I didn't feel like she had much personality to be carrying the film. I didn't really care about her relationship angle that much. Yeah, I didn't really mind her too much. I liked her haircut. It made me want to cut my hair again. That's a little too short for me.
Oh, okay, never mind. I don't want to do that. No, but I don't know. I didn't mind her. I felt really bad for her when she gets her period in class, and it's like her first day of school. That was kind of relatable, but like it made me feel for her. So
yeah, I don't know. I didn't completely love her, and the final thing I'll say about it is the ending of the movie, like the very end, almost made the entire watch completely worth it for me.
Me too. I was wondering if you liked that, but I completely agree. Yeah. Like, that was great. That was a great thing that you want to see in this type of movie, and you just, like, I wanted more out of that. I'm like, I want a sequel just to see what happens with this, but it's like the last scene.
So, do you have Letterboxd reviews?
Let me see. My Letterboxd was acting a little odd. Shit. Letterboxd keeps cutting out on my phone here.
So, in other words, no.
Okay, here's one. Double Shot J. I heard nothing but bad things. I'm kidding, buddy. Well, let me, wait. This one I thought was just kind of funny. It's a 1-star review. It says, there's not many good reviews on here, by the way. It says, they use their magic to make a boy woke. I'm glad he's not a but Dave Knight as well use it to finish their homework. It's dumb. 1 star. And I got 189 likes. And hold on, wait. I had another one, but like my phone keeps screwing up. Where's it at? Where is it at? I am choking. Okay, here. It's a 2.5-star review, but it kind of gives it credit. It says, there's a lot to like about this movie. The first 2/3 is quite interesting and really leads expectations of what's to come high. It is a real shame that these expectations are not met and it just all ends in a vague CGI battle for power. I hated the CGI in this movie, especially the auras are awful. It's a good thing there's not much of it all around except for the last couple of minutes. Like I said, the ending didn't really make sense in any way for me because I didn't feel like that was the answer to the question we had been waiting for all along. It is sad that in the end, many interesting things that are presented to you during the movie do not get tied up. However, I really liked the concept of Lily falling in love with the high school bully after they rid him of the bad attitude. I wish they had done more with that and actually centered the rest of the movie around this very interesting concept. So 2.5 stars. Kind of sort of like how I feel about the movie for the most part. So, yeah, that is it. That has been Letterboxd Reviews with Carly.
Okay, so what are you gonna rate this one?
Honestly, like I didn't mind it too much. I thought, in my opinion, it's above average. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought this was a little below average.
Oh no.
I think I might have gave it a 5 at first, but I'm gonna come in at a 4.5.
Oh no.
Yeah, I didn't really think it was too good. Personally.
I very much just took it as like a teen movie and didn't really try to compare it to The Craft or think about it in that realm, and I think that helped me a bit. But I feel your rating is fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't really know what to do next week. Do you know anything that's out right now?
Anything else? I don't know. A movie I've been wanting to do is that Alone movie that I think Watson kept talking about, but I don't know if that's available to watch anywhere.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay, let's do that then. So Alone 2020 runs 98 minutes. It is about a recently widowed traveler is kidnapped by a cold-blooded killer only to escape into the wilderness where she is forced to battle against the elements as her pursuer closes in on her. That actually sounds good. So
that actually played at our drive-in, but we didn't.
I know,
it was like a time where we were busy.
Yeah. So that's what we'll do next week. So we'll see you guys then.
Peace.
Take care. Oh, and also, just a side note, there's a couple of guys that were giving us feedback on the audio and stuff like that. I've noticed that the music has been like way too high. I adjusted it on the last episode, So let me know if it's good, if it needs to go lower. I'm new at this, like, sort of thing. I mean, I edited audio before, but putting music on and stuff, I'm a little weird with that. Like, it sounds good to me, but it's not about what it sounds like to me. And then I've messed with some settings to try to get our voices to sound a little bit more clear. I never changed any settings, so I'm not sure why the settings would have changed from initially when we recorded to, you know, currently. So I don't know, but I'll keep messing with it. Just tell me what you guys, especially Watson, if you're still listening, you're like the audio guy. Tell me what I need to do, because I want to make sure you guys are hearing us comfortably. So, with that said, see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.